Hey, welcome back to another edition of Addicted to Gear. This is the live Q&A session. I'm here with my Strat in hand, ready to answer some of your questions and read some of your comments so that we can go into a little bit more detail than we can just by me answering your questions through some text message that I send you. So if you have left a message on my channel in the past, there's a good chance that it'll be answered in these type of videos. Now, this is not live, so you can't answer or get answers to your questions here. For that, you want to tune in to the live edition of Addicted to Gear, which happens every Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. This is when we have our live edition where you can actually ask your questions right then and there. Join our Addicted to Gear enthusiasts and just enjoy the company of other musicians that are addicted to gear like you and I. So before we get started, I just wanted to say that this video has been sponsored by That Click Knob, and that is what's in this little pouch. And if you are not familiar with the product, it's actually quite ingenious, I have to say. All it is a little knob that will replace the knob on your guitar, similar to what you have here. You just replace the knob, and it allows you to actually set the knob at the tone or volume level you want simply by pulling out a little metallic tab that is discreetly located on the side of the knob, so that if you're looking for that specific setting in a live situation, well, it'll stop at that setting for you. You'll feel like a little click there. And so you know that if you want to be, for example, have your volume at exactly 7.5 out of 10, you can just set it with the knob and then get to it in a split second without having to look at the knobs or determine where you're at. So if you want to have that setting saved, it's an excellent way of doing that. And then by pushing in the little tab, you can use your knob as usual. So it's just added functionality for a guitar, and it's a great idea. Why didn't I think of that, you know? So I'm going to leave a link down to the product in the comment section below where you can actually pick up one of these guitar knobs for yourself and try it out on your guitars. So far, I can't think of a reason why you wouldn't want to have something like that on your guitar. So I appreciate that, and a big thumbs up to them. All right. So let's start off by answering some questions or looking at some of the comments left by our users on our videos. So this is a comment regarding the pros and cons of sanding your guitar neck for a smoother feel. This is a video that I made a while ago where I was talking about how good it is in terms of feel if you sand back the guitar neck. Now you can see that this guitar that I'm holding, which is a reissue Strat that I have, has a poly finish on it, and it is extremely shiny, and it does get sticky over time, especially if your hands get sweaty, if it's a hot day. Sanding that back will allow you to get just the wood feel on your necks, and it does definitely make a huge difference. And not every guitar that has a poly finish, not every guitar I'd want to do this to. For example, I'm not crazy about doing this on my Gibsons because they also have tint, and by removing that you would actually also remove the tint on the back of the neck, which I don't like to do. But for my Strats, and specifically my Telecasters, I've done this many times, and I actually do prefer the feel of it. So Jerry says, I will say this, I prefer spraying lacquer over poly, and it seems pretty forgivable. Now the reason why he made this comment on that video is because I mentioned that you have to be careful if you're tinting a guitar neck or you're spraying poly, that you have to keep poly sprayed with poly and lacquer sprayed with lacquer. You can actually do one of those two things without having too many issues. So poly is a more rigid material that doesn't move too much. So if you spray lacquer over poly, you should not have an issue. But if you spray poly over lacquer, lacquer being softer, you might end up getting cracks and different strange things happening. So you don't necessarily want to do that. So if you're finishing a guitar and you don't want to sand it down before you spray your lacquer or your poly, keep that in mind, okay? You could go back into that video and see the context of that particular comment and where it came from if you're interested in doing so. Next question here. The Harley Benton Fusion THH, like a Telecaster, only better. That was a video I did on the Harley Benton, and it was an unboxing video, right? And so Simon or Simon says, instead of a useless unboxing, we'd have preferred some music test. So I guess he wanted a sound test out of it. And I appreciate that. And I'm not a big fan of unboxing videos myself, but a lot of my viewers actually enjoy the unboxing videos for some reason, from strange reason, because I'm not one that really likes to watch unboxing videos myself. And I do agree that a sound test is better, but there are sound tests that I've done with the Harley Bentons that have the same pickups, Roswell pickups, and they do exist. So if you're looking at wanting to see those videos, you can go back and take a look at those videos as well. Also, there's so many videos on Harley Benton guitars, and that one specifically where they're playing them. So it's really not hard to find a sound test video on that guitar if you're really looking for that. Next question. All right, so the comment says, to be fair, my Strat and G&L Strat back plates sit on the top of the body. Just looks a bit odd that the control cover sits flush though. So this is a comment that I made on the Harley Benton Fusion 2 guitar. And when I was doing the video, I commented on how the back plate, okay, similar to what you have in this Strat, sits above the body, so it's not countersunk. You can see there's actually a bump there, okay? Very common in a lot of guitars. Nothing unusual, the fact that some manufacturers prefer to do it this way, okay? That's not the issue. The issue was that the control cavity, where they actually have the pots, you have another one on the Harley Benton, which is just beside this one, and that one is countersunk. So they decided to go countersunk on one and not countersunk on the other, which kind of looks weird. And that's why I mentioned that. Ooh, I just knocked over my microphone. Apologize for that. So that's why it looks weird, and that was the reason why I made that comment. And just my opinion. If you're going to go one way, do it 100%. Just makes things look and feel better and look better quality, in my opinion. All right, next question. How did this install go for you? Wish you did a video of that. Hopefully it was easy and just what you wanted. Please let me know, as I am considering this for my 2013 Les Paul with a PCB. All right, so I had a rant video on what Gibson was doing with their PC boards, okay? And you can go back and watch that video. I just felt I had to say something, because the PC board design that Gibson is using in a way is good, but in a way it doesn't really work. It fails miserably. It works for them because it cuts down the cost of them having to wire everything in by hand in their guitars. So I understand why they're going with a pre-wired type of harness. And it would be great, except the compatibility with these harnesses really suck. So if you want to make any kind of modifications, you're kind of stuck, and you kind of have to invest in other equipment, such as specific crimpers and specific types of connectors on my model that I was looking at modifying, at least. I don't know if they've changed it now, but so it really was frustrating for me, because I just wanted to upgrade the pickups like I do on many of my guitars. Unfortunately, it wasn't an easy process for me to do that. So I looked at a solution where I'd be able to upgrade the pickups and basically do this solderlessly, and just, not have to overheat the components over and over again whenever I want to do a pickup swap, and just do it with straight wires. Something very, very simple. So I came across the Obsidian wire solderless harness, and it was great. installed very easily. I was able to put in all the connectors in there without any issues. So now if I want to upgrade my guitar, I can do it in a jiffy. You know, it really will not take me any time to do this, and it's very basic to do. And I don't have to ruin the pots, and I can keep on using the same harness over and over again for years to come. So a really great idea. I loved it. Was easy for me to install, and I highly recommend it. So if you're considering it, go for it, man. You won't regret it, let me tell you, especially on the Gibson guitars. Next question. All right, so Rob Bob says, I just found this video 2020 and also just bought a 2014 Classic Vibe Telecaster. Congratulations. So I like Telecaster A, and it seems to have won the contest. I've owned many American-made Telecasters and they have all been good, but these Classic Vibes are wonderful. Now, I agree with you, and a lot of people have agreed since I posted that video. That was a video I made on the 52 reissue versus a Squier Classic Vibe, and I don't know how old that video is. It's pretty old. Until today, I still get comments on that video and people discovering how great the Squier Classic Vibe guitars are. They really are a great bargain. Highly recommend it. Now, when I played those two side by side, they definitely do sound different. The Squier Classic Vibe has a lot more of a cutting sound with the pickups that they use as compared to the 52 reissue. I'm not going to say that the Squier is better than the 52 reissue. It's different, but it's a great guitar with great value. I had both, and I kept the Squier for a long time. I enjoyed playing it, sometimes even more than my 52 reissue, because I wasn't worried about damaging it or anything like that. I got a lot of mileage out of that guitar. I really did like the way it sounded and felt. Eventually, I did sell that guitar. Full disclosure, I don't have that guitar anymore, but that's just because I replaced it with other guitars that I felt were just a bit better for what I was looking for than the Squier Classic Vibe, so I didn't feel like I needed it anymore. It was a little bit redundant, and if I'm not using something, I'll sell it, and that's what I did. I still have the 52 reissue, however, because I'm hanging on to that guitar for a while, just monetary reasons, but eventually I might actually sell that one too. I'm not necessarily tied into any specific brand or model for any specific reason. I mean, everything can be considered as an item that I will get rid of if I'm interested in bringing in something else. I don't like to tie up gear and just keep it in the closet without using it. That's just me. All right, next question. And this is possibly the last one of the day. So Missy M5424 said, and this is a comment that was left on my video where I talked about developing tinnitus or tinnitus, depending on how you like to pronounce it. Basically, it's ringing in your ear that doesn't go away, and it's really dreadful if you have this. I highly recommend you protect your hearing. So the comment says, yeah, all us musicians suffer the most. I've damaged my right ear more using headphones for listening to my loop pedal music. And man, I realize how loop stations are not designed for blasting into your ears. Thank God I never used both headphones, just one, because I'd be suffering really bad. I have permanent tinnitus or tinnitus and loss of some of my hearing in my right ear, and I know it's been the loop pedal that did it. They're designed for studio, open bands, and street busking life, etc. But me, stupidly, putting up the volume all into my tiny eardrum like that with many layers of different instrument sounds from a loop creation, from drums to vocals. My eardrum definitely paid the price for it, and it's no joke. Now, obviously it's no joke, your hearing is super important, especially if you're a musician. I'd give anything to stop the tinnitus and get back that hearing loss. I'm only 28, and it's a serious wake-up call of how fragile our ears are. Look after them, peeps, because once the little hairs in the middle ear are damaged, there's no going back. they can't regenerate, and you need to live with the severity of the damage. Please be careful. So, I'm really sad to hear something like this, especially when you're only 28 years old. That's really young to start having hearing damage. Obviously, I'm older than that, and I've only started to have this tinnitus issue recently. And you have to be careful. Definitely protect your hearing. I highly, highly recommend you get some earplugs made for you. If you go to an audiologist, not just the cheap ones that you can buy in your local music shop for $10. I'm talking about good quality hearing protection if you're playing loud music a lot. I have permanent tinnitus in my left ear, and it's gotten a little bit better now over time because I've been super careful, and I've kind of limited the volume of whatever I listen to, specifically in this ear, and I definitely wear earplugs. Okay, but again, at a certain point, when you're younger, things, you'll hear buzzing in your ear after a concert or if you're playing live or whatever, and it'll go away, and so on and so forth. But eventually it won't come back, and that tinnitus won't go away. The buzzing will always be there, and it's really annoying, especially when it's quiet. You're trying to sleep and all you can hear is that high frequency ringing in your ear. It's not pleasant, let me tell you. So please, please, if you're a musician, please wear hearing protection. It's not something that, doesn't mean you're not a man if you don't, go live without any hearing protection. You really want to protect your hearing. A lot of the old time rockers, from, everybody from AC/DC, who is it that was suffering hearing loss recently? The Who, AC/DC, a lot of these guys all have hearing loss to a certain degree. And you don't want to be one of those. Let me tell you, it really is important to protect your hearing if you're a musician, especially, right? I mean, think about it. All right. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you for joining me for another Q&A edition of Addicted to Gear. I hope you got something of value out of this video. If you like the content I'm producing here, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to support the channel, spread the word, subscribe, help our sponsors by clicking on their links and purchasing some of their items and just helping them out as well. It also helps the channel indirectly. Just tell them I sent you. And that's it. So stay tuned, keep rocking. And if you want to ask your questions live, join me on Sunday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, right here on Addicted to Gear. See you soon.